On this episode of All Chiefed Up, we're talking 2 big-name free agents that are still available, and the pundits are saying that the Chiefs need to take a serious look at both.
We're all chiefed up, and we're back with another podcast for that ass. Make sure to hit that like button for us, and also, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 50K before the Super Bowl this year. Mike, let's talk about these guys the Chiefs need to be signing, apparently.
Let's go. KC Kingdom said Chiefs encouraged to sign pair of underrated bargain bin free agents. They go on to say, even though free agency opened in March, there are still some quality veteran options on the market. Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox released an article highlighting 10 bargain bin free agents who can still help teams in 2024. 2 players on the list had the Chiefs as potential suitors, and the additions would make sense. They were offensive tackle David Bakhtiari and corner Stephon Gilmore. We'll start with Stephon Gilmore, and it says, if Gilmore is hoping to chase a championship, the right opportunity could be in KC. The Chiefs parted with former top cornerback L'Jarius Sneed in an offseason trade. Steve, do you think the Chiefs should kick the tires on Stephon Gilmore?
I do not. I think that's still a sentiment outside of Chiefs Kingdom from people that don't know who we have as young guns. They think we need to replace L'Jarius Sneed, and I don't think that we need to. We are solid at corner, man. We have a lot of young talent, and we're already talking about how many of these we can fit on the 53-man roster without an old man like Stephon Gilmore.
Right, you said it. Stephon Gilmore, 33 years old. Now, he did play with the Cowboys last season, and he started all 17 games. So not too bad, not a lot of endurance, durability concerns there. He had 68 tackles, 13 pass deflections, and he actually had 2 picks. He played 94% of their defensive snaps, and he actually had a good passer rating. He only allowed an 87.2 in coverage, so he's not the worst signing. But Kansas City's rookies and the guys we've drafted and our young guys at the corner position in that room, I want to see them get some work. I don't feel like this is necessary at all. Do you?
Absolutely not, man. We have the guy that we just drafted, Kamal Haddon, that's going to be struggling to make the 53-man roster because we have been so good at drafting corners. That's what Brett Veach does. 2 years ago, he knocked it out of the park with secondary in the draft. All those guys have developed well. We do not need another corner on this football team.
Look, we took an injury last year with Najee Johnson, and he should be back. Nick Jones last year had an injury he was fighting through. He should be back healthy. And I would say maybe you could kick the tires on Gilmore if you think that we're going to have some injury concerns. But we're still so deep. I still don't think that's a thing here. So let's go ahead and talk about David Bakhtiari. They're saying that their Super Bowl window is wide open, but the Chiefs do have questions at tackle after not re-signing Donovan Smith in the offseason. Kansas City is set to hold a competition between Kingsley and Wanye Morris, who played in 37% of the Chiefs' offensive snaps last year. Potential suitors for Bakhtiari, Cleveland Browns, Kansas City Chiefs. Steve, we've talked about Bakhtiari before, 3-time Pro Bowler. Do you think the Chiefs should take a look at him now or just let the young guys battle it out in camp?
I'm all for letting the young guys battle it out. I think Kingsley Suamataia could be a plug-and-play type guy. I think he could get that starting job this year. We'll have to wait and see how that goes because Wanye's going to battle as well. But I do think if the Chiefs were to go out and sign a free agent to help with this team, tackle would make more sense than any other position. If you just get some veteran presence over there at left tackle like David Bakhtiari, you couldn't be mad at it, Mike, if they got it for the right price. But I don't think it's necessary either.
I don't either. Look, Bakhtiari, we know he's got serious injuries he had to go through. It's limited his past few seasons. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler. He's smooth in his sets, and he dominates at times when he's healthy. Now, when he had the surgeries, that wasn't necessarily the problem. The problem was they didn't do the surgeries properly, and this guy can never get over that. He couldn't get back, and he couldn't get healthy. That's been his holdup. But we've seen that he said he wants to play for a Super Bowl MVP. Hello, that's Patrick Mahomes, the greatest.
The greatest.
The greatest quarterback on the planet, Steve. So would I take a chance on Bakhtiari? Would I take a chance on Gilmore? I honestly think if they both come in very, very cheap, I would maybe kick the tires on them in camp and just see what they got left. See if they can earn their way on the team. I wouldn't say I would give them anything, but if they can come in and compete, fine, go for it.
I think there's room for Bakhtiari. I just have a hard time believing there's room for Stephon Gilmore. When you got guys at the bottom of the totem pole like Echo Boydo, Miles Battle, Kamal Haddon, those are the guys trying to make it. Kelvin Joseph.
Yeah.
Mike, we're loaded at corner. I don't know if that's necessary at all. Hear ye! It's time for Beyond the Kingdom.
It's time to go beyond the kingdom, Steve.
Hear ye! Hear ye!
Hear ye! Let's get outside of Kansas City and see what's happening in the NFL world. Let's kick it off with a story here from Patrick Peterson, who's questioning the state of the DB market. Steve, we just talked about Stephon Gilmore. He's not being looked at. And he says, why do you have so many high-caliber guys who've played at a high level and they're still not signed? They're still free agents. Steve, do you think the corner market is going the way of the running back market in the past few years?
I don't, because the first guy he cited outside of himself was Stephon Gilmore. And I hate to tell those guys, you're 33 years old.
Yeah.
Like, get over it, man. You're not sought after like L'Jarius Sneed was. Like, your time has kind of passed a little bit. You are still good. Don't get me wrong.
Sneed didn't even have a lot of suitors because of his age.
Exactly. Look, they're both still good corners, but I just think that no one wants to invest in guys that are going to be done in a year or two. They'd rather get their youth on the field, develop, and have a future.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think they can come in at the right place at the right time and produce. If they want to ring chase and you want to come to KC and you want to get on the roster and you want to beat out the young guys, you want to be a mentor and you want to take a big old pay cut, fine. There's a place for you in the NFL.
You could be Darrell Revis at the end of the Chiefs. You know, he went to the Chiefs at the end of his career, right? And he had one good year. I think that was about it, though.
Yeah, you can't be 33 and keep chasing money. You got to chase wins at some point. Moving on. The Bengals quarterback, Joe Burrow, knows health is key in 2024. He says, I want to be on the field for all the games. This is great. This is the guy that everybody thinks is better than Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in the league besides Mahomes. And this guy's goal is just to get on the field to play all the games.
I absolutely love the fact that they act like that maybe in the past few years he didn't think that was a thing. Like, it just now occurred to him, like, you know what?
He's like, wait, I should play.
If I could play every game, maybe we'd be a little bit better. They're just not figuring this shit out. Like, what are we talking about?
I don't know what happens over in Cincinnati, and I don't care to know what happens. Moving on. If Aaron Rodgers gets the Jets to the postseason bliss, a 5th MVP for the quarterback and a first for the franchise could be a reality in 2024. I don't know what they're trying to say here. They're trying to say if Aaron Rodgers plays out of his ass, has the greatest season ever produced, the Jets may be able to compete and possibly win a Super Bowl, Steve, but there's still a giant hurdle to climb, and it looks like Patrick Mahomes.
Well, they're just saying MVP. If he could get MVP, if he were to get them to the playoffs, yeah, if, we'll see what happens. I think that they're shooting too high right now. Let's just see if Old Man Rodgers can play.
Do the Jets fans want a Rodgers MVP, or do they want a Super Bowl run? Who cares what Rodgers does individually?
I think they're saying that goes hand in hand. Like, if Rodgers can have a Super Bowl run that he's going to win MVP, I call BS on that. Patrick Mahomes is going to be hard to beat this year with new toys to play with and shooting for a three-peat. He's going to be scorched earth, brother. Good luck.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. And to be honest, I don't think Aaron Rodgers will get through the first 6 to 8 weeks without being injured again, more than likely. Moving on, kind of a sad story here, man. Kyrie Jackson died in a car accident over the weekend, I believe it was. There was a drunk driver involved here. I think it killed 3 people, and that is horrible. Our thoughts and condolences are with his family, loved ones, and everybody involved in this tragic accident. Steve, we talked about Kyrie Jackson, and it feels a little stupid to sit here after the dude's tragic death and say, like, talk football. But you actually had him on your sleeper list. We were actually thinking that he may be a good fit here in Kansas City because he was such a talented athlete, a good corner. He was physical. He just couldn't put it together perfectly. But there were times when you watched him on film and he looked unstoppable. And this is insane that a drunk driver again comes out here and takes the life of somebody like this. And again, all the people that go after guns and everything else in society, I wish they would go as hard after drunk drivers and that stuff the same way and put that same energy to it, because it's all bad.
It's ridiculous, man. 3 young guys lost their lives because one slapnut decided to be a freaking idiot. And it's just pathetic. And of course, no one in that car even got an injury. That's just how it goes. I'm sick of it. It's stupid. They need to do something about it.
Yeah, something needs to be done. That's all there is to it. But prayers, thoughts go out to Kyrie Jackson, his family. I would have loved to have seen what he could have done in Minnesota, man. The kid was good.
That time's yours.
Time's yours, Chiefs Kingdom. Let's jump right in. And Steve, we can't get it going without getting a little gas first. That's what powers it. Doug, our boy Doug, says, putting the metal to the pedal, giving you the gas, the greatest channel out there. Thank you, ACU. Doug, we appreciate the gas, brother. And our last video, which was last Wednesday, come out. We had a video about Juju Smith-Schuster possibly being named to come back to the Chiefs if he's a cut candidate. Rashee Rice is still facing suspension. Everybody sounded off on that, Steve. So let's get into a few comments. Mike Johnson comes out and says, I hope Rice's suspension comes next year, 2025, because I think we truly need him for this three-peat. Go Chiefs, three-peat, baby. Steve, I think we're in agreement that he probably will be suspended after the season in 2025 because we don't think the legal process is going to play out in 2024. But do we need Rashee Rice for all 16 games? That's the only way we're getting a three-peat. Is that a thing?
It really just depends on when that suspension would come in. I think what Mike's afraid of is the league doing it very timely to where it messes with the playoff run.
Oh, yeah.
Because that would be a disaster. We definitely do need Rashee Rice out there 100% for the playoff run to three-peat. But if he were to miss early in the season for a few games, I don't think it would make that big of a difference. But I'm with you, Mike. I think this is going to be a next year problem. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
Look, if they go into the season and they was to hit him with suspension before the games even start, he would start the season on a PUP list, on a whatever it is, a suspension list, just like Charles Omenihu did last year. So you would be able to keep an extra receiver. Are they as good as Rashee Rice? Hell no. But I do think early in the season, you'd have a better chance than if you got to the end of the season and then they yank him out right before the playoffs. So I'm right there with you. Moving on, we got a comment from Mr. David here. Says, nice recap on the slowest weeks of the season. I'm pumped about all these rookies. Cannot wait to see what happens when they put on the pads and then get to the preseason games. Steve, we're only a few weeks away from camp. We're only a few weeks away from the preseason games. I'm excited to watch some football. Excited to watch these guys go in there and knock some heads around. What about you?
Absolutely. First off, David, thanks for the gas, but also I'm excited to see how this all plays out too. We've been talking about how these lower level guys can make the team, the guys that are on the bubble, I should say, like Justin Ross, Nico Remigio, LRZ. There's so many guys that we're just wondering how they can make the squad. We're not really going to know till those pads come on and they get out there and compete.
Exactly. Moving on here, we got Shaggy Shane in the house. Our boy Shaggy Shane.
Let's go, baby.
If we weren't already so crowded at the wide receiver, I would possibly kick the tires on him, referring to Juju. Also, his knees are bad. I do like the fact that he is interested in returning. A badass Kiss shirt, Steve. I seen the original lineup in 79, and when I was 9 years old as well as they returned in 1996. People really like that Kiss shirt you had on last episode.
It's a badass shirt, so that's understandable. But I get the sentiment from him as well. Like, not so sure about Juju coming back, but it's nice that he wants to return. That shows you what kind of culture they have in Kansas City, that the fact that he would be like, man, I want to go back here.
Well, let's look at this. If you did get to the Rashee Rice suspension before the season, they was to knock him out for, say, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks. Would you then kick the tires on a Juju knowing that he's only got to maybe play 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks?
Absolutely. You use them short term and you don't worry about the longevity of that knee. And yeah, that could definitely be something that happens.
Could be something there. So that's something to keep an eye on for sure. Last one of the day, we're going to Rob Couch. He says, we always get ranked low, then we prove them wrong every season. They haven't even seen our offensive line play yet. Hard to grade something you haven't seen. He's referring to our offensive line being graded by PFF as, I want to say, number 4 in the AFC, right? I don't know what they were rated overall in the NFL. I think it was something around 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 5. Steve, we think it's low. I think it's low. I think they had the Jets above them. I don't see that happening. But like he said, everybody rates Kansas City super low at this time of the year. It's a talking point, and then the season comes around, we prove them all wrong.
That's exactly how the offseason goes every year, especially for like the last 5-6 years, is the Chiefs are not going to do this again. Someone else is going to win the AFC West. Usually it's the Chargers. Oh, the Raiders are making a comeback. The Broncos are making a comeback. Look, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. You haven't seen our offensive line yet. And the fact that they have them ranked 5th in the entire NFL and they haven't seen it yet.
I'm liking it.
I'm liking it.
I'm liking it. We've partnered with our boy Trey Smith and Foco to bring you this beautiful Kansas City Chiefs grilling cooking set, Steve. He's smoking some beautiful meat on his Traeger. He's looking good doing it. You guys can do it too. Check our description for the link. Get it at $75. You can buy everything individually as well if you don't want to buy the entire set.
Look sexy while you're grilling. Also, hit that like button, subscribe button, and bell. We'll catch you next time.